How's it going, guys? My name is Vincent Murata, and I'm here to just talk a little about my topic. It's just how I made my webpage and a little bit just explaining how web pages work in general. Also, how you could use different tools to make logos, banners, and stuff like that. So, for my specific website, I use Google Sites, and that's basically a platform where you can go, it's free, and you could basically have all the things you need to complete a website, but I feel like there's not as much text that you need to learn like HTML or CSS. Um, I think HTML is more of like the core of how to make a website. It's like the backbone of where everything starts from, and that goes for CSS as well. I sort of think the Google Sites is just an easy way for someone to quickly navigate through and create their own website for the use of whatever they're trying to do. HTML, I feel like takes more of a expert's full knowledge to get. HTML is a code that we use for basically all the websites that we have that are stored servers. The coding is universal right now, and we access it every day when we go online on our phones, computers. Once we're on our network, we're straight. We're trying to access HTML no matter what. Um, so explaining how Google Site Store edited and accessed on the web, I think I have to start with access on the web first. You access it by going to a browser, and from there you search a URL, which is basically telling your computer to search the servers that are just filled with databases of HTML code for that specific HTML. Once it finds the specific HTML that you're searching for, then you can edit it. You edit it obviously by editing the HTML, but for Google Sites it's a little different. You could use text boxes, you could upload images. It's not really as professional as just basic HTML code that a professional would learn. And it's just stored by it's automatically saved every single time you make a change to it. Every word you type, it gets sent back to the server. It's stored and then it comes back to you. It's it's a pretty cool it's a pretty cool way of doing things, considering that Word and all that stuff. You could lose your data quick if you don't store it. Say the power goes out and your computer shuts off, then the code that you just have is basically melted. You can't access it anymore. But with the Google Sites, it automatically saves it, so you never can lose that core code that you need. Next, with the logo, banners, and animations, we basically that was towards the beginning of the semester where we used a thing called Pixel and EasyGIF, and in both of those tools, there's different things that you could do where you can manipulate the text, you can upload different files in a specific file, you can pick out different layers. It's actually amazing to think that a free software online has you can gain the accessibility to change your pictures in so many different ways. I actually loved that part of the semester because I never really learned how all the images online were done, stored, made, how easy it is to change things if you wanted to, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, just a cool part of that semester. All right, so go through each. How's it going, guys? Just on to the next part of my video. I'm gonna go over my website. Um, just the purpose. It makes the video games change the industry for computing in many ways. The software that's come out for daily use has been innovated in tenfolds throughout the past 10 years. The first picture I have here is just some of the artwork that goes into the characters that are inside the game. You could see how well and how much they have to work with these designers to be able to implement the overall environment of the game to like match the environment of the game to the characters themselves. And in the bottom, we just have a picture of a pretty cool gaming. PC. This is pretty cool because it basically shows all the parts that are needed, but a lot of them are a little bit over the top. But it's just the basic parts. You got the CPU, RAM, memory, all the coolers, the graphics card, the motherboard. You'll have the power supply somewhere down here, and lastly, your data either stored on an SSD drive or a disk drive. Let's go to the second page here. The second page, we have the effects and impacts. Some of the benefits are speed advancements on computer parts, a way of entertainment, a good way to learn code, and getting faster at making decisions under pressure. The harmful effects is your eyes can hurt for too long, and over time you could start losing your vision. It's expensive hobby to have, and you lose a little bit of your social life if you spend all your time playing the video games. That's basically what I wrote for the negative effect on society. Over time, some kids have shown just to have behavior where they act out and go crazy if they don't handle their amount of time on the PC versus going and hanging out with their friends. For the economy, there's a big impact with the video creation of video games, just because the more power that the game needs to run, the better parts for a PC that need to be made. So it allows companies to come out and compete with top tier graphics cards or CPUs or RAM and it serves a purpose to almost everybody that either has a laptop or computer. And then the culture, we're sort of the first generation of kids that are really into the whole video game things. And all we could do is hope that the kids that have it available to them right now are going to, it's not going to affect them in any way. And another is a field that you can get into with a video game. Being a professional video gamer on some of the big name games you could stream your content, and honestly, some of the top streamers make millions of dollars a day, which is pretty cool to me. And then on the right, we have this is what I'm talking about, the graphics card. Just it says increase KD ratio, which basically means that you do better in the game. And you can see as you get a better graphics card, the rating goes up. And this is my survey. This is just how many people have heard of the topic. You can see that it's primarily males that have heard of the topic. And this is my video that I made in the beginning of the semester, just URL link that brings you to this. And I basically made it with my iPhone, uploaded it to YouTube, and there it is. I just don't want to go through the whole thing. And then here's my survey. I think this was for assignment 8, if I'm not mistaken, but just a couple questions and stuff like that for people to answer. Page 3 of my Google site is the technical aspects. Basically trying to describe how a user interacts with the innovation. People are doing it every day all around the world. They're logging on with their friends, playing video games. It's a huge thing right now, especially with the whole coronavirus, as you see a lot of kids, even young adults, on a crazy amount of hours playing. And a big connection to the innovation technology is basically like what I explained before. The more competition there is for better video games, the harder the engine is to run. So you're coming out with new parts that are more and more expensive, and it's a lot of work. Do data. Just describing how the innovation consumes data, produces data, and transforms it. When you're trying to get into the game, you're accessing data from a server, asking it to provide you different images as you play, or to get into different game modes that you need. You produce data just by moving your mouse or keyboard. As your character is moving, you need to do different things, say jump, slide, aim in, and transforms data. That's just, in the game, you could customize and do whatever you want. For example, there's like a server, Minecraft server, you could go in and transform a whole world to whatever you want. The next part was describe at least one storage concern, data privacy concern, or data security concern. The big concern is something's called swatting, and it's when somebody somebody uses your IP address and has a false claim of calling 911 saying that they're hacking into something or they have a gun, and actual SWAT teams have come to streamers' houses live on the internet because of it and causes a lot of harm to them. And lastly, just the references. These were some of the references I used for getting the details that I did. And yeah, that's basically it.